Governor McAuliffe, thanks for being here. So I have to say, 60+% in what was perceived to be a highly competitive primary. You had at least two well-funded opponents. What would be your message to the National Democratic Party? What should they take away from what you pulled off here? Is there some lessons to be pulled out of here for National Democrats?
You bet, Chuck. And it was a great win, and it was the second highest turnout we've ever had. People are excited. I spent this whole campaign talking about issues. I had a 130-page policy plan talking about how I lift up Virginians on education, affordable housing. How do we lead this nation out of the COVID crisis? So I spent my time traveling the Commonwealth, talking to folks about the issues that they're affected with every single day. And I think that's why you saw so many people. I built a huge coalition from all parts of our Commonwealth who endorsed my candidacy, big policy ideas, big coalition. And listen, people are concerned. We don't want to see Virginia go background. As you've seen with Glenn Youngkin, he's an extreme anti-women, anti-gay candidate. We've had that before. I beat Ken Cuccinelli last time. We're an open and welcoming state, and we've had 8 great years of success, and we're not going back. And we're not going to let some right-wing Trump loyalist try and take this state backwards. And I think that's what motivated people.
Do you believe you won because you were perceived as the least progressive candidate, the most moderate, the one that was the most appealing to sort of disaffected Virginia Republicans? Do you believe that's why you won? And because some progressives are not happy that the least progressive guy here won.
I guess, I've never, Chuck, you and I have had this conversation for years. I'm not big on labels.
I know.
But you are talking to the governor who restored more felon rights than any governor in American history, was sued by the Republicans, sued for contempt of court. I never backed down. I banned the Confederate flag from the Virginia license plate. I banned the box. I reduced juvenile justice population by 2/3. I'll put my record, progressive values, up against anybody in this country. But at the same time, Chuck, I was the biggest job creator. I inherited the largest deficit from the Republicans. I left a gigantic surplus, 200,000 new jobs. They're not mutually exclusive. And I talked about education. I had the biggest, boldest plan, $2 billion a year, invest in education, get every single student online, get all 40,000 at-risk 3- and 4-year-olds pre-K. I don't know what label you want to put on it, but I know as a governor, if I build the best education system in the country, I will bring those jobs in. And Youngkin will be a job destroyer because companies, I wrote the bid for Amazon. I got Nestle Corporation to move here. I got CoStar to move here. They're not coming to a state that discriminates against women, against gays. Extreme social agendas are what put walls up around your state. I knock walls down.
I want to go back to this. So, look, a lot of us see what you did here. We see what Joe Biden did in the Democratic primary in 2020, and it looks awfully familiar. The activist base, some of the media, Terry McAuliffe and Joe Biden, they're a couple of has-beens. And, it's time for new leadership. It's time for a fresh face. Is there a disconnect between sort of the progressive Democratic chattering class and actual rank-and-file Democratic primary voters?
I can tell you here in Virginia, there's no difference. I got 62% of the vote in a 5-person field. So I got progressive, I got moderates, I got conservative Republicans, I got independents to show up for me. Because, Chuck, I'm very results-oriented. They know I can come fix this economy. They know I can lead us out of this COVID crisis. And listen, Donald Trump is still around. Glenn Youngkin, my opponent, has said he's in the race because of Donald Trump. Trump came out the next day and gave his total endorsement. And I assume, I'm not sure if Donald Trump has the courage to come to Virginia. I've run the 16 presidential. I ran Joe Biden's campaign here in Virginia. We beat Trump by 400,000 votes. I know Youngkin wants him to come. I don't think Trump has the courage to come back to Virginia because I've beaten him twice. So this has some big implications to it. And let's see what old Donald Trump wants to do. Mr. President, you want to come into Virginia? I'll beat you again.
I want to ask you about Glenn Youngkin because, look, on paper, he doesn't look like Ken Cuccinelli. Ken Cuccinelli, you had would sometimes perhaps help you create a caricature of him, or not you, or his political opponents. It doesn't look like Glenn Youngkin. Looks like Ken Cuccinelli. And by the way, it was a close race with Ken Cuccinelli. So do you believe this is your one path to defeat Youngkin, that you have to turn him into a Donald Trump, Ken Cuccinelli clone?
I don't have to do it, Chuck. He has said himself that he's in this race because of Donald Trump. His first endorsement after he got the nomination was Donald Trump. His first speech after the nomination, I'm just taking his words, Chuck. He said, I want to ban abortions and put more guns on the street. That's who he is. He could even, believe it or not, I can't believe I'm even saying this, this guy could be more extreme than Ken Cuccinelli, if that is even possible. And that's just not where, we want to go. And he's the one who's embracing Trump. I'm not. And I had a good talk with President Biden last night. I mean, we are unified. I talked to the candidates I ran against in the primary. We're unified. We just put an email out an hour ago, and within an hour, all 50 states, people went to www.terrymcAuliffe.com to give me money. They don't want this state going backwards. They want us to go forward, and they want the Democrats with big, bold, progressive ideas who can build great economies, create great jobs with family medical leave, paid sick days. I want to get the $15 minimum wage moved up to 2024. Those are practical solutions to issues that families are facing.
All right. Former Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe hoping to become the next Virginia governor. Democrat from Virginia, thanks for coming on. Congrats on your primary victory. And we should note, what's that, sir?
You are a Virginia resident.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So, and we should note, you got it. We have reached out to Glenn Youngkin, the Republican nominee for governor, and we're hoping to have him on the show soon as well. That does it for us for this hour. We'll be back tomorrow with more Meet the Press Daily. MSNBC's coverage continues with Jeff Bennett right after this break.